Johnny Silverhand is an unreliable narrator. Now, I don't say this to be an asshole, rather I say this as a large portion of the dialogue and memories from Silverhand are either mixed up or directly falsified in 2077. This is likely a result of Silverhand's inflated ego, as well as his traumatized and fragmented mind. He personally wants to believe himself to be much more central to the plot than he is in reality. For those of us who did not previously know, Cyberpunk 2077 is actually based upon the Cyberpunk tabletop RPG and story written by Mike Pondsmith. These books are considered the prequels to 2077, and more specifically, Cyberpunk Red was created to help bridge the story into 2077 on its release. Pulling from Cyberpunk Red's handbook, I specifically want to cover the Night City Holocaust, which is also known as the Arasaka HQ Bombing. We see this event as we glimpse into Silverhand's memories throughout the game, but these glimpses don't properly portray what actually occurred on this day. There are huge inconsistencies and falsifications scattered throughout Silverhand's memories that are just staggering. I'm going to give a complete analysis and explanation of what actually happened during the Night City Holocaust that compiles information directly from the source books. This will be lengthy, but it helps to shed new light onto 2077's story. During the Fourth Corporate War, on August 20th, 2023, a Militech incursion team led by Morgan Blackhand and Johnny Silverhand attempted an infiltration mission into the Arasaka towers of Night City in order to copy or destroy the Arasaka Corporation's Reliquary Database project and erase the Soulkiller program from their network. The idea was to render the database project unusable for the rival corp by using a tactical nuclear device with the planned area, a heavily shielded complex, to absorb the impact of a blast and prevent massive destruction. Johnny Silverhand led Team Alpha, consisting of a few Militech Special Ops, a portion of a group of Aldecados, known as the Lobos, the Solos Rogue and Shaitan, the media Lyle Thompson, and a netrunner by the name of Spider Murphy. Morgan Blackhand would instead lead Team Omega, with the rest of the Militech Strike Forces. Johnny's team dropped out of an AV on the top floor of the Arasaka Towers, with the mission of infiltrating the laboratories 10 levels down into the building to retrieve Alt Cunningham, who is trapped in the Arasaka network, and destroy Soulkiller. It's unknown which path the Omega team took, but the last one to see Blackhand was one of the Lobos, who witnessed him heading down a stairwell with a heavy suitcase. After breaching into the building, Alpha Team rushed to the labs where Spider accessed the Arasaka computers in order to contact Alt and rescue her. After transferring her into Spider's data suitcase, the Netrunner proceeded to download some kind of information into data chips, and uploaded a virus to destroy any information regarding Soulkiller from the Arasaka network. When questioned by Thomas about the data chips, Spider lied to him, saying they only contained information on the Arasaka development team and other basic corporate knowledge. Alpha Team was suddenly attacked by Atom Smasher and a group of Arasaka troopers, taking down many of the Militech operatives and Lobos in the first attack, badly injuring Thompson and pinning down the rest of the team in the labs. While both groups fired at each other, Spider snuck to her data suitcase in order to connect into the net and scatter the various portions of Alt, each tagged with a marker with the hopes of finding them someday. During these events, Johnny, who had been knocked off by the initial attack, managed to stand up. With a Militech SMG on one hand and his Malorian on the other, he shouted and provoked Smasher, futilely emptying his guns on the Borg. Smasher turned around and fired his auto shotgun at him, cutting Silverhand in half. Shaitan, taking advantage of the distraction, grappled and immobilized Smasher, telling the rest of the crew to leave. Spider Murphy tried to reach Silverhand, but Rogue stopped her, telling the Netrunner he was gone. Spider reached into her jacket and pulled out a data slug Alt had uploaded to her a long time ago. Whispering she was sorry to Johnny, Spider inserted the chip into the back of the dying Rocker's skull. She then tried to reach for her data suitcase, but soon realized it had been destroyed in the crossfire. Wishing Alt good luck, Spider helped Rogue and the surviving Lobos to drag the wounded Thompson into the elevator. Spider knew Johnny would be avenged, and while touching the remaining data chips in her pocket, she knew Rach Bar Moss would be as well. With their mission complete, Alpha Team began their extraction. Once on top of the building, they got into the rescue AV. It was during the lifting off when they saw Morgan Blackhand going on against Atom Smasher on top of the Arasaka towers. A few minutes later, once the AV was quite far away from the building, a nuke went off. While the Militech Spec Ops and the Arasaka troopers were in a firefight, somehow the nuclear device prematurely detonated on the 120th floor of the southern tower, inside Kai Arasaka's apartment bunker, where the Soul Killer laboratory was located. The explosion instantly obliterated the Arasaka towers, splitting them in half and causing both structures to collapse outward. The entire city and corporate district turned into ruins within seconds, with almost everyone in the immediate area dying. The blast instantly incinerated over 12,000 people in the vicinity of the towers and fatally injured upwards of 500,000 more. 250,000 died in the resulting aftermath over weeks and months. In the aftermath, a Borg firefighter named Samantha Stevens, who was a fan of Silverhand, accessed a wrecked bunker among the ruins of the Arasaka towers. While exploring the area, Samantha found the body of Silverhand in an unexploded Arasaka nuclear device. Realizing how dangerous it was, she emptied its contents into the depths of Del Coronado Bay and hid Johnny's body into the nuke crate to preserve it. At some point, she also retrieved some of Johnny's possessions, including one of his Malorian 3516s and his Porsche. She had all these items, including the bomb case, in her own garage somewhere in Night City. She protected and took care of them for decades, preserving the vehicle in its pristine state by keeping it in cold storage, and maintaining the weapon by using cosmoline. And there you have it. That is, for the most part, the completely covered story that we have so far of the events that took place during the Night City Holocaust. Now, the issue with Johnny Silverhand is that he has such an inflated ego and concept of his power that he accidentally disillusions himself. I don't believe he is creating false memories and stories to throw off V, rather that he actually believes them. The first major detail left out of Johnny's retelling of the Night City Holocaust is the absence of Morgan Blackhand, a legendary solo who's in the employ of Militech. Think of him as Militech's Atom Smasher. The rivalry that is perceived by us, the player, between Atom Smasher and Silverhand is in reality between Smasher and Blackhand. The absence of Blackhand directly leads us into another misconception as well. Silverhand replaces Blackhand with himself in his own memories. Not only was it Blackhand seen carrying the nuclear bomb to the lower levels while Silverhand led his unit, Silverhand was also cut down in his first encounter with Smasher, and it was instead Blackhand who was last seen fighting Smasher atop the Arasaka towers. Silverhand overall is greatly over-exaggerating his own participation within the raid on Arasaka towers by substituting Blackhand's achievements with his own. Despite these details being a falsified recollection of the raid on Arasaka, what we view after the raid is a completely falsified memory. Johnny was never taken to be interrogated by Yorinobu Arasaka, seeing as his body was split in half and recovered in the aftermath by Samantha Stevens. There's never an opportunity for him to be alive or be recovered by Arasaka. His ego made him believe he was of much more importance to Arasaka, despite being of no relevance to them or even Atom Smasher. Overall, I just want to make this video to help spread the story of what actually occurred during the attack on Arasaka towers. It's one of those things that are completely left out of the game itself, and is only possible to know if you have read through the tabletop handbooks. I believe knowing this content helps to greatly add a new perspective to the 2077 story and Johnny Silverhand himself. After listening through to all of this, just let me know what you all think about what actually occurred during that day, and what you think of Johnny Silverhand's recollection of the events. Do you think he purposely omitted details to V? Or do you think he legitimately believes these memories to be his own? Do you think that there's another cause to why he may be remembering the attack on Arasaka Towers this way? Let me know down in the comments and tell me what you thought of everything. Hope you all enjoyed and have a great day, chums.